Do you know Earth is a school? And what does that mean? Let me explain to you. In a spiritual perspective, we all came here to experience human experience. We all come down here, third dimension, to experience how to be a human. And behind every lesson, there's a purpose. We all come here with a soul contract. And what we learn here is usually from our past life. When I say past life, that means another version of us in a different timeline and a different reality that assign this lesson to us in order for us to meet that purpose that we're here for. And many times there's a struggle, there's challenges that we have to go through. And as we know, many times these challenges not as easy. I can understand. I experienced that myself many times. When you want to get to the next level for your goals, your dreams, your desire, oftentimes you have to break down first. In our society, school teaches us not to fail, not to make a mistake, because if you do, they will punish you. So we tend to grow up with this fear mentality that we don't want to fail. And if we don't fail, then oftentimes we can break through to the next level because it, every time you accomplish or went through a challenge, your strength expands, right? It's just like when you go to the gym, when you put on the reps, every time you do a little bit more, then you become stronger, your physique will show, right? And without going through that little bit each time, then it won't show the result. Same thing with the lesson that we learn here. It's like a courses that we have to go through with a different level, right? If you play video games, you know this. Every level is getting harder and harder than the previous. A personal story that I can share with you happens to me recently. And it's very interesting because if we don't learn the lesson, guess what? The lesson will come back and we have to relearn until we learn that particular lesson. And of course, every time when that same lesson comes through you, it's a little bit slightly different, but the foundation is the same. So let me give you my personal example. So recently, I had a client for digital marketing business, and this client, we have a connection. We did it pretty well. The result came through, and it was phenomenal for her, for their business, for their social media. And then the second month, there's a I'll call the villain. So the villain came show up, and this guy, I will tell you more about this guy. But this guy with the fancy resume, put it that way, okay? And I don't see him have any record of building brands, especially personal brands. And I also see that, okay, he has a fancy resume. Maybe he work at big box companies or those big names company, but he doesn't have a track of building brands from scratch. In our society, we tend to miss that. That we tend to more favor the fancy resume, big brands. But the foundation is, have you done the work for yourself? Have you built a personal brand yourself? Anyways, so the lesson here is my personal lesson is here and to show there's many different levels. First of all, ego. This person, I can sense he has a very high ego and very ignorance. I can sense that right away when I see him on Zoom and he starts showing that he knows everything. He mentioned that he also have a connection in the TV industry, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking in my head, okay, I have a connection too, but I don't say it. And also, if you want to talk about result, right? I have a podcast show and Dr. Phil, casting director, contacted me to have one of our hosts on the show. And as well as Paris Morgan, right? And of course, I didn't see all this. I have to look back and to realize this is a test. And I think the first part for me to, the universe wanted to test to see if I really let go of my ego. Because if my ego is still there, I will try to say, hey, I did this, I did that, I did blah, 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 A, B, C, D, right? The F, G, right? So, anyways, long story short, at the same time, I was talking to one of my family members about abundance mindset versus poor mindset. And the sharing of this comparison to my family member is if a person has abundant mindset, they will look at what they already have. They are not going to count little things. They're going to see the bigger picture. They're going to see the blessing part instead of the inconvenience part. So a person with abundant mindset will not look at little things. After I share that, all of a sudden it dawned on me. Put two and two together and just, okay, maybe this client does not vibrate in the same frequency as me. And especially this person, Shelbe, it's trying to tell me something. First of all, as I mentioned earlier, I wanted to tell you a little bit about this villains. Very interesting synchronicity happens. This villain, his background, his age, and the way he is very near to the former friends that I used to have about 2 years ago that we don't talk anymore. And this friend that I have somehow a trauma inside of me is more similar to betrayal. So I have that breadcrumbs trauma still with that person. So this villains in this marketing space show up. Similar characters, similar background. It's very interesting. So I see so many lessons, so many life lessons that I try to see if I can pass the lesson. And the reason I notice these lessons is because I'm consciously aware of what's going on in my surrounding, and my conscious is in the present moment. If my conscious is in the past or in the future, then I won't be even be able to recognize all these patterns, all these synchronicities, and all these lessons that try to show me, teach me, and see if I will overcome these challenges in order for me to go to the next level. So this abundance that I was sharing with my family is telling me that if I have a lot of business, if I'm feeling abundance, when I feel that way, then let go of one client which doesn't fit or doesn't match or doesn't want to work with me anymore. It's fine. It doesn't bother me. And at the same time, this person is also very similar to that former friend. It's also telling me, hey, try to notice me that, hey, you still have the trauma that you haven't overcome completely yet. So these signals is telling me you gotta overcome this before I go to the next level. Very interestingly that I came to realize this. The reason I'm sharing all these personal stories is I would love to build a community. If you are on my channel for a while or if you're new here, please subscribe to my channel. And if you're on the audio platform, follow and write me a review, comment. It's all welcome. But I want to build a community because I know spiritual awakening journey sometimes can be very lonely and things that you're aware, you're consciously aware most of the people around you is not the same and they're not aware of all the things that you're aware. So building a community is also helping, sharing, and have this collected consciousness together to discover, to learn more, to be together in this journey. So I decided to start a school community and it's still in the process of putting everything together. But I want to start sharing with you guys. I started a waiting list. And this waiting list will allow you to be the first to be notified when it's ready to shift onto the school platform. and it's free to join. And we're gonna have live calls. I'm gonna have some different courses, a different life experience that I'm sharing with you guys. And at the same time, we have Q&A, we have story sharing experience, and what you learn from this journey. This is going to be very interesting. I cannot wait. I'll put the link in the show notes. If you are on audio platform, if you're on YouTube, I'm going to put it in the description so you guys can click on the link and join. So remember, Earth is a school, and you don't have to take it so seriously. But in order for you to go to the next level or to achieve your dreams, sometimes those hurdles, struggles, discomforts is the necessaries in order for you to go to the next level. So until next time, I'll see you guys on the next episode. So stay safe and peace.